Hey, you guys, welcome back to the course. I'm so glad you're here. And today I'm going to be going over with you 5 ways that you can build your wealth faster. And these are tips that I want to give to you really early in the course, things to be thinking about that are the basics. These are the things that we're going to carry through the course with us as concepts, ideas, and things to be thinking about while you are getting into investing. All right. So, the very first thing is you need to have an amount in mind that you want to invest. It's really important to know that you are going to be sending, money to this investment every month. And so you want to pick a number that feels comfortable for you. When I first started, I started with just $25 a month because I didn't know what I was doing and I had a lot of debt. And yes, you can invest even if you have credit card debt and loans. It's totally up to you. This is your money. You get to do what you want with it, right? So I made the decision early on that I wanted to be paying myself first. That's a concept that you hear when you start reading books and getting into the investing world. This concept of paying yourself first, which means that you pay yourself, you send off money to your savings accounts, investing accounts first, and then you pay all of your bills after that. Okay. And the reason for that is that if you're paying yourself first, it's like saying, I'm a priority, my investing is a priority, and your brain starts to remember that, lock onto it, know that, understand it, and your brain then knows that it needs to look for more money. It will start getting on board. You might then say, okay, because I know I need to pay myself first, it needs to be this amount. Maybe then all of a sudden you are more apt to go for a raise with your career, or maybe you start getting more clients with your business. So if you allow your mindset to carry you forward, a lot of times you'll find that extra money. And this is the principle that I'm going to be kind of sharing with you guys throughout the course and what happened for me. Once I started getting excited about investing, at first I was terrified, but once I started getting excited about investing, my brain actually said, okay, like you need more clients now. Let's go get more clients. And that's what happened. My business started to grow and grow and grow because my goals started growing. Okay, so that's why I'm saying pick a number that's comfortable for you right now, but know that you're going to stretch it. You're going to revisit this number. You're going to come back, and I want you to make that a priority for yourself. I'm not going to be there to be pushing you and nagging you and telling you to increase the amount. But one of the key things I'm going to tell you in growing your money is how much money you are actually sending off to your investments. How much money are you allowing to go there so that it can work for you, right? So it becomes a choice. Every month it becomes this choice, and it starts playing a big role in your decisions. Like if you go out spending money, right? If you start going out every night to eat, or you're drinking, another drink with your meal and adding on multiple drinks, all of that costs money. And if you're looking at that as you're going out and you're saying, oh my goodness, I could be sending that extra $10 off from that drink to my investment account, then it starts to matter for you. Now, I'm not saying to not live your life. I think it's really important for us to enjoy our lives and live our lives. That's what I'm all about. But it does start to help you when you keep these things in mind, that if you have the knowledge that I'm about to give you right now, It's going to change you. It's going to make you see that, like, oh, now I have a choice, actually. So I want you to remember this every time you go out when you're spending, and also in your days when you're contemplating how you're spending your time. Do you want to spend your free time like watching TV and doing things like that? Or do you want to spend your extra time on a side hustle, or something like for an extra hour a day where you maybe go dog walking or something and you make a little extra money? These are the things that come into play as you become more aware. All right. And the reason I'm bringing that up, because I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you guys the difference in when you're able to take the income that you're making and set it aside, and the percentage of that money that you're able to take and set aside, and the difference in if you invest more, how much more that grows and how quickly it grows. All right. So in this example that I've got for you, let's say that you're making 50K a year. Okay. What I want you to see in the yellow box, we're going to talk about you're just setting aside 10%. All right. And that's sometimes a big number, even for people. And I realize that when you first start, you might actually just want to do 2% of your 50K. All right. So in this example, I'm going to show you though between 10% and 50%. And there's a reason that I'm giving you these examples. 10% comes out to about $5,000 a year of your 50K. All right. That divides out to about $416 a month. Now, you might hear 416 and go, wow, that sounds like a lot of money, but realistically, like if you're eating out a couple times a night per week, $416 is not a lot of money. That adds up when you're eating out every night or every other night when you're, doing things like that. Okay. That's just an example. So over 7 years, if you are able to invest that $416 a month, if it's going away to your investments every month consistently, over 7 years, you're going to make $47,360, about that. Okay, that's with what I plugged in and what you're going to learn in the course. You're going to get to use this actual calculator to find these numbers out for yourself. And it's super easy. All right. But that's with about 10% interest a year, which is an average for index funds, which is what we're going to be investing in. All right. So that's an average. That's just kind of an average number, right? That's not even the high number. So 47,000 is what you can expect to make after that 7 years. Now let's look at the blue box. Okay. Let's say that you get confident with investing and you're like, wow, and maybe after 6 months or a year, or even now, for sure because you've been watching the markets, you've been wanting to get in, you do trust them already. Let's say that you're like, I need to be investing right now and I need to put as much as I can away. Let's say you invest 50% of your income, all right, which is about $25,000. If you do that, it comes out to about $2,083 a month, okay? And that's going to be sent in every month consistently to your investment. Now, over 7 years with compounding and about 10% interest, that could possibly come to $237,000. That's a big difference from the 10% save, being saved and invested at $47,000, right? You see that difference. That's just 7 years, right? Now, realistically, let's talk realistically, because I know for a lot of people, they see these numbers of, the percent to send off. And this always comes up as like the hottest topic, the hardest thing for people to do consistently and decide. But I want to show you these numbers to make it real for you to see what happens when you're dedicated, when you're consistent, when you do this over time and you decide, I need to be making enough to send that much away, you know. Now, there are ways to make these numbers change for yourself. Okay, there's ways to make this go up for yourself. One way is to increase your income. Now, this is what I'm saying right here. Find ways to make more money earlier. So, for example, what happened for me with my business, I started my business back when I was in college. I had a lot of debt back then, and my business was just kind of getting off the ground. The first year, I hardly made anything. It was maybe a couple $1,000s. The second year, it bumped up to about $10,000. The third year was when my business really took off. I started to get a lot of clients and I started to understand how business worked and how to take care of people. And my business really boomed and took off. Okay, so that year, I believe I made maybe around 50K. Now, the next year, the fourth year, was really when like things doubled for me. Suddenly, I had a lot more money, and I was like, okay, I actually have enough to start investing, with. Now, I started investing much earlier than that, and I just picked a small amount. I picked $25 a month to start investing with. And I think I did that maybe my second year in business. And then the third year, I bumped it up to about $100 a month. And the fourth year, I decided I need to I need to go bigger on this. I need to take a bigger percentage out of my, paycheck, out of my own paycheck, my business income, and send it off. And I did that. I went up to maybe like 20% of my income. That was around the time that I started reading some books. I started studying some more about investing. And the thing that I kept seeing was that people were saying, if you can, try to invest at least 25 to 30% of your income and even get it up even higher. And if you have dual income, like if you are married, try to save at least half, of one of the incomes, right? So that you're getting that maybe 25% for each person in a way, if you want to think of it that way, but 50% of one of the incomes. And that blew my mind. I was like, wow, that's a lot of money, to be saving every month. That's like thousands of dollars. And I will tell you that when I started officially sending off like these kinds of numbers, it's like 2,000 and more per month to my investments, they started growing much faster. And the reason for that is because of compounding. We're going to learn about that in the course. Okay, so it's a way for your money to grow, but it does take time for the money to grow upon itself. The other thing I learned about was finding ways to spend less. All right. And when you're, when you're younger, you don't maybe really understand that because you just think, okay, I need to buy this, I need to buy that, all these things. And maybe even as we get older, we lose that concept of like budgeting. But it's really important to consider that because if you're able to direct money from one thing that is maybe not such a high priority to you and you're spending money on it every month into something like an investment that is helping your money grow, and is actually working towards your goals for yourself, you're going to feel so much better, right? About yourself and about your money. If it's aligned for you like that, if you're able to say, okay, these things I'm spending money on actually don't make me feel all that great, and these are goals that I have. So that comes into play as well when you start doing work like this. When you work on yourself and you do this kind of work, like where you're saying, I'm going to make decisions that are in my benefit, in my family's benefit, things that potentially could create generational wealth. I mean, I have moms, and dads that I'm working with that are deciding now. They're working with me and they're saying, how can I get an investment account set up for my kid now? And we do that, but we do that through them, through the parent, and have them setting aside the money for their kid. But imagine that. Imagine your kid is born, you set up an account, you let that compound up until when they're 18 or 20. They now have money, to start their life with. And that's such a different way of seeing things than what we normally do. That's truly, like, to me, it's having intention, with your money, with doing some good things with your money and creating generational wealth, which means, you're building up your account and you're leaving money to your kids, to their kids, and they now have something to start with rather than starting from scratch, starting from zero, right? Which is where a lot of us start from. So, this is why it's key, right? To think about that amount now. And then I want you to remember, please come back to that amount and increase it. Okay, so you're going to hear me repeat this in the course a few times, but it's for that reason. It's for me to help you remember, oh yeah, I've got it, even though it's at 100 per month right now, 6 months down the road, when I get that raise, I need to remember to increase the amount by the percentage that I made. Whatever percent more they increase it for you for your raise, go ahead and increase the amount to your investment right off the bat. Just do it. All right. So that's the first thing that's really important for you to know. Now, the other four things to get into, and these are really simple things. The second one is you're going to learn to take your power back with your money and set up your own brokerage account. All right, that's what you're going to do in this course, step by step. You're going to learn how to set up your own brokerage account, meaning you're going to be working with a very high level brokerage firm, and you're not going to have to pay them any kind of fee or anything. The fee comes through, it does come in to play, but it's built in to your index fund. And we play the game of picking index funds that have a very tiny fee, a very small fee. So these are the things that I figured out the hard way doing this myself, but I'm teaching it to you now, so that you understand. And you're going to learn that in the course too. When you pick the index funds, I'm going to show you how to see like what that fee is, where it is, and how much. All right. But the important thing for number 2 is that you are taking your power back. You're setting up your own brokerage account. All right. No more financial advisors telling you what to do. No more brother, sister, uncle telling you that they're managing your money for you. That drives me crazy. That if you have that happening right now for yourself and you are having a hard time with that, please reach out to me, because I do have coaching and programs specifically for just helping you get through that, like get into your power, shift the energy so that you are more in command of your own finances and everything else in your life. So this is the key thing, is that you are learning these things in this course so that you can make your own decisions and you feel empowered with those decisions. Okay. Number 3 is knowing your financial freedom number. Now, this is the number that you need to reach. It's your goal number. So I want you to also have that in the back of your mind and maybe let that number come to you now. What is a number that you feel like, if I had that, I would be good, right? Now, in the course, we're going to do a little bit of work, like a tiny bit, to help you figure out what you actually need. Because there is a way to actually find that out. It's not very hard. But the reason for this financial freedom number is that's your goal number. That's the number that you need to hit, and you need to have that number locked on in your brain, in your mind, so that your brain now knows, I need to get you there, and I need to look for ways to get you there. You're going to see that a lot of this work has to do with deciding and knowing within you that you need this specific number. And once you do that, once you make that decision, then your brain now knows what to look for and now knows what to do for you, to get you there. Maybe your brain now comes up with this great idea for you, for your company, to help your business grow. Maybe your brain now knows, like, okay, I need to make more money, so I need to get a raise at the job that I'm at. So I need to actually work in these ways, right, to get that raise. You'll see that it all adds up over time, that your brain gets you on board, like it helps you get there. All right, so the financial freedom number is this number that once you've gotten there, you could live, if you wanted to, off of your investments. You could pull out a certain amount per month and live off of that money. Or you could use that money, a portion of it, maybe to travel. You could use a portion of it to help your kids with their college or buy a house or something. So this is a financial freedom number, is the number, to me, it's the number that I knew I wanted. It was $1 million. Once I got that $1 million, I knew I could easily live off of the interest that money makes just from sitting in my investments and allowing the money to gain interest, continue to gain interest. So that is the financial freedom number. All right. That's what we are going to find that out in the course for you and get you on board to figure out how much you need to be investing each month to get you there. Right, and get you there faster. The 4th thing is automating all of this for yourself. This course is called Investing with Ease, right? It means we want it to be easy. The point of this course is to get you into an investment that's relatively safe. There is always risk involved in investing, right? That's big disclaimer. You need to know that if you're getting into this. This is investing education, right? So I'm not giving you advice. I'm just helping to educate you so that you can go in and make decisions about what you want to do. But the key component here is knowing how to automate your investments. If you're able to do that, then you will be able to sit back and just let your investments grow month by month. And that's how you get the ease, right? It's by setting up those investments month by month and just set it up and it invests for you month by month. And then you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to trade. You don't have to know how to get in and get out of the market. This is the point to the course, is to help you set that up so it's ready to go. And then you just sit back and you can watch it for yourself. You can make adjustments down the road if you want. You can do anything you want with your money. It's yours to control. But the key here is to make it easy, right? So we're going to get into that as well, how to automate it. The last thing to know and to be aware of is how to live off of these investments safely and continue to let the money grow. Okay. Probably the biggest mistake that I see people make is they start investing in some kind of investment account. Maybe it's a 401k or an IRA, or like this, what we're going to set up a brokerage, account, just a regular taxable account. Maybe someone sets that up. They let the money build, right? Sometimes they don't even know that it's building because they're working at a job and the money's just getting pulled out and put in to that investment for them. And then one day they actually look at the statement, right, for the investment, and they're like, holy cow, I have $100,000 saved in there. and then it dawns on them that they have $100,000 out in loans, like on a house or on a car, a couple cars, or something like that, that feels like it's hovering over them in a way, right? And I've seen this happen so many times, and I want to shake the people that this happens to. But it also is kind of a testament to the importance of this course and education, because if you don't know, right, and if you don't know not to touch that money, you're just going to touch it. That's the human nature in us, is to resolve this feeling of that's hovering over me. We want to get rid of it, right, as humans. And what I'm going to tell you is a key thing for this is to learn to live with that feeling that it's there. Okay, don't let it control you, and don't let your actions come from, right? Don't react to the feeling that you have of this, like, this is hovering over me, right? Don't react to something outside of you. You want to keep your goals in mind. You want to know those really well, and you want to keep your plan, for yourself about consistently investing every month and not touching that money, letting it grow over time, and just start working on either how to make more money to pay off the bills that I need to, right? Or spending less money, right? So that you can take your budget down and you're not getting yourself into a bad situation. But we don't want to be reacting, because in a lot of cases, if you actually do math, on these things, just to give you a quick example, right? If you get into a house, and it depends on where the interest rates are, but if interest rates are, let's say, 5%, and they're always fluctuating. So when you're watching this course, it could be that they're higher. But let's say that the interest rate's 5%, right, on that loan for your house, but you're making 10% if you put the money in your investment. On average, it makes like 10%. Does it make sense to give your money, all your money, that whole pool of money to your house payment, or to pay off your house? No, it doesn't make sense. It makes more sense to make the payments over a longer period of time to your house, and to set money aside for yourself consistently, and to grow your freedom number, to grow your account, so that you can have some money, some kind of investment money to work with, to do whatever you want with. You may not even know what you want to do with that money yet. I didn't know. I just knew $1 million was my goal. And I also had this idea that maybe someday I could retire early, that maybe someday I didn't have to work for anyone anymore. And that is what actually ended up happening, right? And now I just coach and I create courses and I do things that I love, like painting. I do all these things because I have freedom to do them now. But I worked really hard to get there, and I consistently saved a lot of money to get there. So these are the key things that I want you to keep in the back of your mind, right? The first one being, how much money can I send off every month? And can I increase that, pretty easily as I make more money? That's kind of like the number one thing, is to increase the money as you make more money. The second thing being, you're in your power with your money and you have your own account. All right. And I mean that for all of you out there. If you're watching this as a couple, I want you each to have your own account. No sharing of this. Okay. You each have your own account, right? I want you to be truly in your power with this. The third one is knowing your financial freedom number. So you may not know that just yet. That's okay. But maybe you have kind of an idea, of what you would like to get to, right? And you are going to learn how to calculate that in the course. Fourth thing is automating it to make it easy. That's so key, because if it's not easy and it's not automated, you're probably not going to remember to send money off every month. So that's really key in this, is to get to the part in the course where you're automating and do that. All right. And the fifth thing is learning how to safely live off of these investments, so that you're allowing the current money that you have to grow, to continue to grow in your investments, and you're safely pulling out the amount that you can live on and still let money grow, right? That's mind blowing to me. When I learned that, I was like, wait a second. I can have my money growing for me and I can still be living on that money. That's just like gold stuff right there, right? Okay. So I want to also leave you with this. Now, sometimes people come into this thinking I'm too late to the game, especially if they're like, you know, up there in age. And what I want to tell you is, you're never late to this game, okay? Um, the earlier you can do this and implement it, the better, for sure. But I mean that even if you're older, right? So don't hold off, because it is the amount of time that you have that is key in this. If you have a longer period of time and you're making money, over that longer period of time, then you have that great benefit of time, to let your money compound. But if you don't, there are ways to get there, right? It's just learning how to make your money work for you and how to get that amount that you have, maybe increase it, right? But if we're coming at this and we're learning the numbers and how much you actually need to be putting away, I think then you're going to start to feel like, okay, I actually know how much I can make that my goal. I can find ways to get there. All right. So just know that you're never too late to the game. My dad learned this in his 50s, and they have over $2 million now, right? And it's still growing. It's still growing. So, and they're living off of that money too. All right. So that's what I want you to know, is that you can do this, right? With the persistence, consistency, and the knowledge. So that's it for this video, and let's dive into the course. Can't wait to see you guys there.